welcome back to Hasbro's Hide. Working again with our BCA bolt action 5.56 rifle. Now, the only thing BCA or Bear Creek Arsenal on this is really the receiver, the upper receiver, the bolt, and the charging handle. Everything else I've added. So we have a primary arms, 1-8 twist stainless steel match barrel. Got a new muzzle brake on the end of it. Another handguard, Spikes tactical lower with a LaRue MBT trigger, excellent two-stage trigger, and a Hogue stock in the back. And then we have our Discovery 4-24 HD scope. It's just, or 6-24, excuse me, 6-24. And it's just a wonderful scope. So we're going to shoot today, though, 3 different ammunitions. So we're going to start by shooting PMC bronze. Now, why? And it's 223 breath. It's because I've completely stripped and cleaned this from the first firing. I got about 65 rounds into it. Completely cleaned it and got all the copper out, etc. So we should be clean, ready to go, give it the best chance. But we need to foul the bore a little bit. So put in the PMC to do that. We're going to shoot 10 rounds of it. Then we're going to shoot 10 rounds of Palmetto State's AAC match grade 5.56 ammo. Now this uses the 77 grain Sierra Match King. So this is their best. And this is pretty hot at 2,700 feet per second. We're also going to shoot some of my hand loads here. And I won't show you the exact recipe there, but they are also 77 grain Sierra Match Kings. They're in Lake City brass. They have Federal match AR primers, and then they're using accurate 2520 powder. And this has been a very good load. It'll match almost identically, or should be very, very close to the velocity of this, maybe slightly above the velocity of the AAC. So we're going to run our chronograph and check that out too. So let me get that set up, and we'll start our run. Okay, first up, we're going to foul the bore with the PMC. We'll put 5 down on the cider target just to make sure we're still hitting roughly where we did. But then we'll put 5 up on our scoring target and see how it compares to everything else. It did not do well before, so we'll see how it does this time. Let me get all set up, and we'll give it a run. All right, here we go. 55 grain PMC, lower right-hand cider. They were pretty close. I did take the buffer and buffer spring out this time, so it's a little different feeding it. Some ways easier. I believe I see some there in the center. Yep. Now, if you haven't noticed before, I've been shooting the Rock for front rush, and this is the Rock BR. And so it's a little bit of an upgrade for me. There are some other heads and things you can get to make it really, really nice and precise. You can fill these legs in with epoxy and lead shot, and I'll probably do that, make it just a little bit heavier, but it's quite heavy. It does grip the sides of the rifle better, so that's nice. So first shot's literally on the new bench rest as well. All right, let's put one more here, and then we'll move up to our upper target. I keep wanting to keep firing like a normal AR. Oh, I gotta break that habit. All right, that's 5 on that target, and they are hitting the target. Looks like about a 3-inch spread or more. Yeah, I do kind of like that, the way the bolt action's working without the buffer and buffer spring in there. All right, we're going to move up to the upper left, shoot our 5 shots. Way low and left. right beside it. We're just shooting for group sizes now. I'm not going to move my point of aim, at least not on the first groups of each one of these. We're grouping a little bit better. Still going to be about 1.5 inches, maybe. And that one flew up. So now it's a 3.5 inch group or more. All right, that's PMC bronze. It's just not accurate ammunition for sure. At least in a 1-8 twist barrel, maybe a little faster twist, they'd do better. But in this gun, no bueno. So let me get reloaded and we'll shoot AAC. All right, so while we're waiting on the barrel to cool down after those first 10 rounds a little bit, you can see the stats here. So we have an extreme spread of 89.9. That's really not good. And a minimum of 28.18 and a max of 29.07, 29.08 almost. But if you look here, standard deviation of 27.4, you know, that's just really not good. And so you see that kind of thing on target. It's not a match ammunition. They don't sell it as a match ammunition. It's just a good sort of overall plinking ammo, to be honest, in 223. So anyway, I thought you might see that. That's the PMC bronze 55 grain. We'll see how the rest do compared to that. All right, so now we're going to shoot the AAC 77 grain Sierra Match King match grade ammunition. And so let's see how it does out there. We're going to shoot 2 targets of it, and we'll see how that goes. And so we'll shoot the middle left and middle bottom. And then we're going to go up and shoot the hand loads of 77 grain Sierra Match King. Let's see how it goes. Way low and left. Okay, so we're definitely going left, so I'm going to have to make an adjustment on the first target. I really didn't want to, but we're going to have a choice. That went a little too far, but that's okay. Pretty hot rounds. Those two are closer. 27.47, that's really hot. That's almost the speed we just shot the 55 grains with. We're within 75 feet of the 55 grain ammo we just shot. Definitely a 5.56 pressure. All right, looks like that's starting to group up, so I'll make another little adjustment and we'll shoot one more target on that one. Didn't come up enough yet, but it's better. Oh, sorry about that, but the GoPro battery died again while I was shooting the AAC ammo, so I'm not sure how much you'll see, but here's the stats. Hopefully you'll be able to see those. Shot 10 shots. We had a low of 27.34 and a high of 27.90 for an extreme spread of 59.6. Yeah, you know, match ammo? Maybe not. Standard deviation of 20.8. So while it shoots okay, this explains the 2 groups I got. There were 3 tight and 2 tight, and that shows in the bullets velocities as well here. So it can shoot well, but there's just too much variation, at least in this lot that I'm shooting. So let's set up. We'll try our hand loads after this cools down just a little bit. All right, so now we're going to shoot our hand loaded rounds. Now, these are 77 grain Sierra Match King, accurate 25-20 powder, Lake City brass. They've been annealed, sized, deburred, chamfered, etc. And they've loaded to plus or minus 0.02 grains on our Creedmoor laboratory scale. Now, the one thing that's different, the best standard deviations I ever got with this load is 2.3, and that's using Remington 7.5 bench rest primers. But I decided to try Federal Gold Match AR small rifle, or Federal Gold Match small rifle primers this time, just to see how well they do. And so we have 10 loaded up. We'll shoot our top right target and see how that goes. And we may have to let this thing cool down again. We'll see how it goes with this ammo. Sure loads a lot easier. That's the dimensions I've resized it to. A good start. Same hole. Dead center, and I kind of felt like I pulled that left a little. Right as I broke the trigger. Oh! I don't know what jerk loaded that ammo, but that one took off to the right. Oh man, that was a flyer. Out of the norm, I hope. Right back in there. This thing wasn't getting our... If I had it set up, I don't know why it wasn't tracking our velocities. Well, I believe this is going to be, it should be 3, that should be 5, I believe, on that target. So we'll drop down to the next one. Pick these up. Yeah, 2700, that's about what I remembered it being. That's a little bit low. It's not very good. I was having a little zeroing issue with my scale when I was loading this, but hopefully it doesn't continue like that. Barrel is getting fairly warm. I probably should have stopped, but I've got more of this. Yeah, there you go. That's better. It will shoot better than that yet as this thing breaks in, I'm sure. But that's maybe an inch, maybe, you know, something like that, but it'll definitely shoot better. Let's see what our stats look like. We can catch them all, but yeah. Here is how well you'll see that in the camera, but we have a extreme spread of 30.7, a minimum of 2668, which was, yeah, unusual, 2679, so that's a little bit lower with this primer combination. It's been well, my other barrels too. I'd take that back. My other barrels are 20 inches. And well, the one's at 18, which is what this one is. But the other's 20, and it was generally at 2700 or better, so that's probably it. But extreme spread of 30, so that's better. And then we have a standard deviation of 11.4. And I can kind of tell it wasn't quite as good here with this primer. It's not bad. I mean, you can see it's twice as good as anything else we've shot so far. But it can do much better than that. Like I say, with the Remington 7.5 bench rest, it was down to 2.3 in my other barrels. So not bad. It's a definite improvement for this rifle. We'll let this thing cool down, and then maybe we'll shoot a couple more and see how we do. All right, so now we're shooting hand loads again. I switched the targets out. Gun is completely cold. Let's see how we do with a 5-round group here on that bottom left-hand target. Not sure the gun like being cold. For shoe shots are not so good. Last three are right in there. So let's shoot another 5. Let me we'll just put a bullet hole up above there and shoot at the bullet hole, because it really started to group there in those last 3. All right, it's small, but it's a target. That one dropped low. Look at all these stats for all 10 rounds here in a minute. Not grouping. That one was much hotter too. Wow. These are my loads. It's not good. The last 4 are decent, but they got 1 out, just like the other one. They got 3, maybe 4 there that are grouping good, and then 1 out. And that one was way low too. So this load is not happy with that Federal Gold metal match primer. It's definitely not shooting us well. Let's see what the stats say here. So we have 10 shots and an extreme spread of 73.9. Boy, that's terrible. And I loaded that mess. So let's see elsewhere here. Yeah, and a standard deviation of 21.5. Well, it did not like those. Maybe I made a mistake in there somewhere. Like I mentioned, I did have some issues with the scale drifting a little bit. And that happens. But I was trying to not overcorrect too much, and I think that was a problem. So we'll load up. We'll shoot our last 10 rounds on this, because if it's not going to shoot, I want to unload this brass anyway. Let me load this up. We'll shoot 2 more 5-round groups up there and see if these last 10 shoot any better than the prior 10 there. Yeah, let me jerk that one just a little bit. Still okay. I felt it right when I squeezed it. A little bit low on velocity. All right, not a great group. See how the stats work out. I don't think they are as bad as that last one, but they're not great either. So I'll put a group up to the lower right corner there beside it. Well, a little bit of horizontal there. Some wind, but I can't blame the wind, I don't think. But better. Well, welcome back in from the range. I thought I'd go through some of our targets. So first, let's look at our 55 grain PMC load. Yeah, not so good. 2 inches at 100 yards. But that's, 55 grains, bulk, cheap ammo. It is what it is, right? And you see over here, just warming the gun up on a clean barrel, that bottom right-hand corner is pretty much the same thing, just a bigger group. So that's about right. This is a 1 in 8 twist barrel, so 55 grains is simply not the best bullet weight for this rifling anyway. So then we moved on to the AAC 77 grain Sierra Match King match ammo. Okay, and if you see this, well, had one major flyer out here. Where that came from, I have no idea. But nonetheless, when you take that out, which I count them all, but when you take that out, that's a 1-inch group. So a little bit better. And the thing is, it's more consistent with the next target. So the next target was 0.962 inches, and it was shooting in 2 different groups. So there's 3 in this hole and 2 in that hole. And so there is some more potential for this. Again, this barrel's not broken in. We're 110 rounds into this barrel now. So there's still more to go with it. Plus, I got a surprise coming beyond this. So then here's 2 hand loads that I did. And I'm kind of surprised by these, but I was using the Creedmoor Sports Laboratory scale back here and was having just a little bit of trouble with it drifting. There's a procedure I go through, and I was just loading 30 rounds, so I didn't re-zero and calibrate it during the run. I just started and went right through, and I could see it drifting just a little bit. Probably should have stopped. It's fine. I mean, it still shot reasonably well. I got a 12 standard deviation, something in that range. But certainly not as good as it can do, because you see here, there's 4 shots right here and 1 that came over here. This very well could have been me. It's hard to say. I wasn't sure it was, but it's hard to say. But nonetheless, 1.2. But without that, that's a much tighter group. That's probably 0.4, something in that range, which is a lot better and a lot closer to what I expect out of that load. And this kind of a twist rate rifle anyway, the 1 in 7, 1 in 8 kind of range with 77 grains. Now, I shot this one again, and this was a little bit more consistent here in that I got a 0.868, and you can see it's still trying to group up there a little bit. So there could be a lot more. So I'm going to reload this ammunition, this custom load here, and I'm going to do a powder load, a charge development on this, because this is not bad, but is it the perfect one? I don't know. So I'm going to find out with this barrel. But then I have another surprise coming. There's a true match grade target barrel coming, and so we're going to run the BCA for at least 1 more charge rate, and then we're going to switch it out for this new barrel, and I think you'll enjoy that. So I did do one other test here, and that was I just felt that ammunition should shoot better than my hand loads, and I still had flyers out here, and so at least on these 2, right? And so, yeah, not the best for sure. But this one is a 1.394 group. But if you take that flyer out, these 4 are 0.56. And that's a lot more what I would expect. So we'll see what's going on there. But I'll reload and correct the ammunition. And then we're going to see if the rest maybe is in the barrel yet. Because that Aero Precision is a very good barrel. It's sort of the next step up from what you might get, coming from, BCA or some of the other suppliers. Is it a pure match grade barrel? No, it's not. It's just a good barrel. And so I think you kind of see that perhaps on these numbers too. But again, this group isn't bad, but it's 1.353 because we had a couple here falling out wide. And so it looks better than it really is. I mean, it's certainly, you're going hunting, it's beautiful, right? But it's not what I expect out of precision rounds. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make this BCA bolt action upper precision. And we'll get down to those half-inch groups or less consistently. That's the goal. So up here, again, 1 flyer, 1.367 up here. But if you take that out, 0.727 in that 4-shot group. And so you can just kind of get the pattern that's going on. And then 0.98 here. And that is much tighter without that one out there, because there's 2 here and these 3 here, and that's sub 0.4. Sub 0.5, I'm sure. But nonetheless, a good group at that. So there is some improvement here. It's certainly better than any of the factory ammunition that we've shot so far. Overall, I should say, with groups like that. But the AAC ammo was starting to shoot, so I can't rule it out completely. In fact, I don't rule it out. It's a good ammo. And if you don't reload, it's a very good ammo for you to try and use and things like that, because it's accurate. And so it's not too bad at all, and I don't want to knock them. I don't have any financial relationship or anything with them, but it's good ammo. In fact, it's better than most you can buy. It's just if you get into precision hand loading, reloading yourself, you can do a little bit better even than that. So anyway, I hope you kind of like this stuff. We're going to continue this. Next up, like I say, a charge development with the Aero Precision barrel on there. It's the same as Ballistics Advantage barrel, by the way. So if you can't get an Aero barrel now, you can get the BA barrel, and it's the same exact barrel. And so you can do this kind of thing on your BCA rifle if you choose. But we're going to move on up. And what we're going to move on up is hidden inside of this box. So we'll check this out, and I'll do this on a separate video. But we have a 20-inch target match barrel in here. We'll talk about that in future videos. I hope you like this kind of stuff. It's a fun project. It's fun to reload 5.56. It's a very accurate round if you get it right. And in semi-auto, I've had amazing numbers out of my ARs, and we're going to see how we do with an AR bolt precision gun. So if you like this, I appreciate it. I would like to ask you to give me a like and subscribe, and we'll catch you later.